Hello and welcome to another episode of Chestnut Checkers. I'm Keith Riddle, as usual, with my co-host Jordan Tampien. And today we have Clarisa Morris.
Yes.
Nice. Bicep Babe.
Yes, Bicep Babe.
Bicep Babe is their handle. If you guys, we'll put a link to your socials in the comments. But I'm excited for this interview because I heard about you from another coworker, and she talked very highly of you. But the thing that intrigued me the most was she said you were like 4-time American Ninja Warrior participant or something like that. And I was like, she lives here in Spokane?
Yeah, exactly.
And I do not know
Spokane?
this. How do I not know this? So please tell us a little bit about yourself and transition into how you got into ninjaing. Do you get to be called the ninja?
Yes. Yeah, ninja. Not the fighting kind.
Not the fighting kind.
The swinging around stuff kind.
I feel like you could fight though.
I probably could, yeah.
I bet you can.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I always ask this question, Spokane native?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. Nice.
I grew up here, went out of state for college, but then found my way back. So
cool. What part of Spokane?
The Valley.
The Valley.
Yep.
Valley girls, man. I feel like people always, I'm a north side guy. Yep. There's Valley people, South Hill people. They kind of just stay.
They do. If I have to drive more than 20 minutes from my house, I will not go.
Literally stay.
So how did you get into the ninja world?
Yes. So
because obviously, I want to just premise this. You compete at an extrely high level. Like the American Ninja Warrior is like the highest level that you're like basically a professional athlete.
Yes. So it's actually a really cool story because I didn't find it till I was an adult. Oh. And like, it was such a cool experience to be able to find something as an adult, be able to compete and like exceed in it. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
because that gets lost after like high school or college for most people, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, competition physically is over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I grew up doing gymnastics. I was a competitive gymnast. I did track in high school. And then after I graduated high school, I thought, well, like, I guess I'm done.
Yeah, I know.
My competitive years are over. Right. And so I went to college. I had 2 children. So I have 2 little girls.
Wow. How old are they?
They are now 9 and 7.
9 and 7. Not so little.
Not so little anymore. Yeah. And so I've always kind of been in the fitness world, and I'm a personal trainer. That's what I do for work.
Is that what you went to college for?
Yeah. Exercise science. Yeah.
Nice.
And I was actually working at a gym here, and someone said, hey, you should do ninja. And I'm like, okay, like, what is ninja? And like, how does someone do ninja?
Right.
Yeah.
And there's actually another gal in Spokane, Sandy Zimmerman. She's been on the show, I think, like 8 times now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she has a backyard course. And they're like, this lady has a course. She does like classes back there. You should just go check it out. I'm like, okay. And
is that the course that your Instagram videos are at? I've seen
a lot of them are, the backyard course.
That's cool.
And I honestly felt like I still had so much like passion to give, and I just didn't have the avenue to put it in yet. Mm-hmm. And I was, I don't know, considering different things. Like I knew I wanted something more, and I considered maybe like Spartan races. I hate running, so I was like, maybe not. Or like maybe like a CrossFit competition or whatever. So I go to her backyard just thinking, oh, I'm just gonna, go have fun. And I went back there, and she's like, try this. Do it first try. Okay, now try this. I did it. And so I was able to do like a lot. And I think just, the gymnastics background, I already knew how to like swing my body. Working out, I already had like the upper body strength. And I just like had a blast. Like it was so much fun. And I left there being like, this is it. Like I found my thing. This is what I want to do.
So give me like a marker here. How old are you at this point in time, or like where are you at in life?
Okay.
Have you already had kids?
I have my 2 kids.
You already had 2 kids?
Yeah, they were probably, I don't know, 3 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 29 now. Yep. It was like 4 years ago, 2021. So it was like 25.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I go home. I'm just thinking this could be like a fun thing for me to do.
Yeah.
But Sandy actually calls me the next day, and she says, I can't stop thinking about you. You could take this sport wherever you want to take it. Like, where's your head out? And I was like, I am all in.
Yeah,
like,
awesome.
you tell
That's
me
really cool.
what I need to do. I'm willing to put in the work. Like, let's do this thing. And she said, well, there's a competition this weekend I think you should go to. And I was like,
did you participate or did you just go as an observer?
No, like I competed. I competed in this competition. I went to her backyard one more time. So I had practiced ninja at this point twice. And then I go to this competition and actually did really well. And so with ninja, there is the TV show, but then there's also a league and they're completely separate. Like you could go win the league and you still have to like try out for the show.
Oh, okay.
So this was for a league competition. And that competition qualified me for the next step in that league. And then she's like, you should do the show. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And
had you ever seen the show at that point in time?
I had, yeah. I had seen the show. So you have to send in a submission video, answered like 1,000 questions about your personal life. And
because there's probably a dynamic of it that they want a little bit of like
story,
showmanship.
Oh yeah,
or a little bit of like
it is like political in that way. Like it's a TV show, and they want people who like will make good TV, either like the story or your personality. Like you kind of have something that will like make you stand out.
Yeah,
it was hard because like I didn't want to be like fake, you know what I mean? Right. And so I'm just like, well, like I'm a mom. That's kind of like a cool thing. Like a mom, like going out and like
competing,
flying through the air. And I think that was the thing that kind of pushed my story on there, was like I was a young mom too. Like I had my kids pretty young. And it's cool because I actually bring them a lot with me to practice. I'll bring them along. So ever since they were 3 and 5, they've been coming to ninja with me and participating too. So
I feel like we're going to be talking to your kids in 10 years or 15 years.
Oh, hopefully. Hopefully they'll surpass me and become better than me. So
that's awesome.
Do they enjoy it? Like,
they do. Yeah. So we just go and they just play around on obstacles while I train too. So
that's awesome. So you go to a competition, you do pretty good, and then you go to another one, I'm assuming, and then you're like decide to be on the show or apply to be on the show.
Yeah. So I applied to be on the show, got accepted. Which it's like very small odds. Like I'm trying to remember.
It's really hard to get accepted.
Like 4,000 people will apply and they'll take like 200.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So someone do the math there. What's
5%.
the percentage of that?
Brennan.
Like 5%.
Less than 5%.
Yeah. Yeah. So I get accepted and I go and film the show. And at the time of filming, I think I had been doing ninja at that point for like 8 months. So it was less than a year. And I was like already on the show competing.
So how'd the first one go?
So bad.
So bad.
Really? That bad?
Yes. No, it was so bad. So my first time on the show, I go on there. I'm like so nervous.
Of course.
Yeah. And then I go out there and I fail on the first obstacle.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So you were one of those.
It's a heartbreaker.
Those are the hardest. Yeah.
And is it one and done? You're just out.
Yeah.
You're out.
I mean, we don't get to touch anything, warm up on anything.
So where was the show?
My very first show was in San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah. So you leave Spokane, you fly to San Antonio, Texas, and you flub out on the first obstacle. You're like, I guess I'll go home and practice now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had to, the thing about it was all mental for me. Like I had been practicing and I had practiced hard. And like I had the skills and I had the capability to be successful with the course that they had. Yeah. But I went out there and I was so nervous that I practically like blacked out.
Yeah.
And then I go and I just like did something with like poor technique and like end up failing. And when I watched it back, I'm like, why did I do it that way? Why did I like jump that way?
Right.
Like I never would have done that in practice. Yeah. And I took a step back and I said, like, how can I fix this? How can I make it so like my nerves aren't affecting my performance? And I realized that my internal voice was really negative. Like I would go to these competitions and the voice inside would be saying like, oh, I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. Yeah. I'm so nervous. And I would look at these obstacles and be like, I don't think I can do that one. I can't do that. How am I going to do that one? Like
you start getting in your own head.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't think that that's unfamiliar to a lot of athletes if you compete where even if you're good at something, eventually you get brought to a level where regardless of how many people around you are telling you are amazing, or even how much belief you have in yourself, you have an underlying story that maybe like, I don't deserve to be here.
Oh yeah.
Right.
It's like imposter syndrome. And
for sure.
Whether it's justified or not.
Yeah.
And I remember like, I was a wrestler in high school. I remember when we wrestled in high school, the coach made a point to take underclassmen a lot of times to the state tournament, even if they didn't qualify, to like see the show. Because he was like, the last thing I want to do is work with a kid for 4 years and they're, junior or senior, get him to state. And then they go there and do that because they go there and it's like mats all over the kingdom, noise, people, and you immediately just black out, right? Yeah. And you forget like where you're supposed to stand or what you're doing with your hands. And it's really intimidating. And so he would do that intentionally. And I thought, so like at the time I didn't realize it, but looking back, I'm like, oh, that's like a really smart decision, right? Because you're at least you can start to mentally temper yourself.
Yes.
So what did you do from that point to try to like, I call it the monkey brain, but like kind of calm the monkey brain or like get yourself in a better mental spot?
I realized, it was the negative self-talk. And I realized that it wasn't just with sports, like it kind of was leaking into like other aspects of my life. And so I would change the narrative. And so I wouldn't even allow myself in my head to even think I'm nervous. I changed that to I can do this. So now when I would go to these comps, instead of saying, I'm nervous, I would say, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. And I feel like even just saying that over and over, like, you would start to believe it.
Yeah. For sure.
And just like falling back on your training, right? Like it's like school. You show up to a test, you know what you know.
Yeah.
Like, so I could do what I could do. Now it's just the time to go out and do what you can do. Yeah. You can't train at that point. There's nothing you can do. So just showing up to these competitions and realizing like it is all out of my hands now. I have done all that I can. Like let go of the control, let go of the results. It's not about the results. Just go and do what you can do. No one's trying to ask any more of that from you.
Yeah. Did you have anybody that helped you with that at all?
Yeah. My husband actually has been supportive through the whole journey.
That's awesome. Yeah. I one of my first business coaches I ever had, he coached a lot on mindset. And I remember very clearly, we had a conversation on one of our first calls, but he said, what are your mantras? And I was like, at the time I was like, I don't know. And he goes, well, here's the thing. He goes, first of all, the definition of the word mantra means sacred utterance by like translation. And so a mantra is anything that you say to yourself mentally, maybe under your breath, maybe even out loud, and like throughout the day or any given moment. And he said, what I find is that people typically have mantras, and those mantras are usually embedded, right? This is like subconscious mind, like they're embedded. And so when things get difficult or when you get into a spot, like are your mantras like, I can do this, or I got this, or I'm going to give my best shot? Or is it like, I knew this would happen. Like this always happens to me. Like, why am I here? But what happens a lot of times, we don't know, like you said, you actually noticed that it was bleeding into your personal life.
Yeah.
And that was kind of his thing, is he was like, Keith, I can coach you, but he's like, the fundamentals of your business. Like you're actually, you've succeeded to a level to where like, yeah, you've sat out coaching, but you're doing well. But he's like, I don't want to necessarily talk to you about the reps or the specifics. I want to talk to you about where your head's at. Because to get you to the next level, it's probably going to be more of like a belief or your internal self-talk, less the you need to go sell 15 more products or houses, right? It's going to be like, well, who are you as a leader? What kind of self-talk do you have? And so really, for me, that changed my life. But that's why I was asking if you had somebody that helped you, because I actually had to have a conversation with someone who was like, you need to work on that, right? And so he would make me like write down different mantras and then like feel them, try them out, because you can't also say things and not believe them, right? So he's like, I need you to find these mantras that you can say, but you believe, right? And then start to add in others. Yeah. So like what did that look like for you? You said your husband helped you, but talk to me about the specifics.
Well, I feel like believing it is a big thing. And I think the thing that connected that belief for me was like the hard work that I put in, right? Like you can't just expect to do well, even if you, like there's those arrogant people that would probably say, I can do this, and they would believe it without any like backing to that. But yeah, so my mantra was definitely, you can do this. But I would back that and have that belief because of the hard work. And so I would say, you can do this because you worked hard. You put in the work. So believe it.
Yeah. So the action has to support the mantra.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's another, you can sit down on a yoga mat all day and meditate and create mantras. But then if you're like, I don't really feel like going to the gym after this, then it's like, well, then of course that creeping voice is going to sneak back in because it's like, well, you didn't do the work.
Yeah.
You're not deserving of this, this, phony mantra that you created. So I love that. So now you're working on your mental. Talk to me about training for your second competition.
So I decided I needed to do more competitions. I needed to actually put myself under that stress to practice not freaking out.
Right.
So I was like traveling all over. Like, I don't know, I'd go to Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and I was trying to be consistently putting myself in a competition under stress to be like, right? So get the hang of it. And it was cool because I would do really well at some and I would do not so well in others. And what's cool about the failure is you fail and then you say, life moves on.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like all the important things in life aren't going to change because of a failure.
Right.
Like as long as you pick yourself back up and you keep going, like your family still loves you. All right. And like what else really matters?
Well, and what I'm hearing and is that you can separate your identity from the results.
Yes.
Yeah. It's huge.
And I think that's a lesson for anybody, but I definitely in my life, there was a point where it's easy to, if things are good, tell yourself you're awesome. And if things are not going good, start to second guess like your fundamental like fiber of your being. Like I must be a shitty person because I am clearly failing in all aspects.
Well, it's hard because you probably will face some judgment. There will be those people out there who look at you and be like, oh, she sucks. Did you see what she fell on? And to just realize that like, those aren't your people. Like if they're going to judge you or talk bad about you because of failure, like they don't matter. Right. And so the people I compete against are mostly 14 to 17-year-old teenagers. And they started ninja when they were 5 years old. So they have years more experience than me. And I've got like 10 years on them. So it was hard to show up to a competition and be like the oldest one there. And then like be like, oh man, these teens are gonna like think I'm some old lady, and then they're gonna like watch me fail and then like judge me,
laugh behind your back.
Like what's this mom gonna do out here on this course?
I think that's really cool. You don't get wrapped up in it because it's not like you're playing at Hoop Fest on a weekend, right? It's a national level platform, and to go do it. How was that next event after the one where you fell right away?
Yes, so then I show up the next year and changed my total mindset, went into it being like, it doesn't matter how you do, just do your best. And that's all anyone's ever asking of you. And I went and I made it all the way to the national finals.
Yeah. So cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So amazing. I made it super far my first round. My semifinals, I had to race somebody, which talk about pressure. You can see the ninja right next to you. Going head to head.
That was my favorite one. It's really cool. It's fun to watch.
So then I was able to win in my race and then, go all the way to Vegas finals.
So you decided to make this like a part of your life, obviously.
Yes.
You're a personal trainer. Do you train ninjas now?
I teach a kids ninja class. Yeah.
What's that like?
Herding cats.
It's like,
how young do they start?
I think the youngest I personally have in my class is 6.
Okay.
And then the oldest I coach is about 12.
Because I like my son's 4. I feel like he's got ninja in him.
All ninja.
Jumps off everything and whatever. But I'm also like, but he doesn't have any body strength, right? Like they do, but they don't. Like at 4, I don't know that you have like there's not a lot of ability. Or like push up ability. Like their muscles aren't. But you see like a 7 or 8 year old little kids, and you're like something changes between like 4 and 6 or 7. I think where you have like the physical ability to control your body.
We start people off on like monkey bars, right? Like if you take your kid and they can do the monkey bars at the park, like sign them up for ninja. That's the next step.
That's the next step.
Let's get them on the monkey bars.
Monkey bars. Fly through the air. That's the only 2 steps. I was kidding.
What are like some things you do to maintain that? I'm like trying to implement that's such a good way to look at life in general, right? Because I think too many times you get wrapped up in what you do, what people think about what you do.
Yeah.
And it's super easy to get an identity or that piece. Obviously, you probably had an aha moment where you're like, hey, this is what it is. But what are kind of things you do on a daily, weekly kind of level that help you maintain that? Because it'd be super easy to go to finals next year, fall in the first one again, and have that same doubt creep back in of,
yeah.
Is there things you kind of do? And you seem like a pretty mentally strong person.
Well, it's been a journey.
Yeah.
It has. Yeah. I think finding the joy in it.
That's a good
right?
one.
Like you can't take life so seriously. And especially like, I feel like we find passion in life. And then as soon as we make it like a job or too important, all of a sudden, like the joy is taken away from it. Yeah. And I'll find myself falling back into it. Like I'll be at training and I like won't be able to get this obstacle, and I'll try and I'll like fail like 20 times in a row. And I'll start getting really frustrated and be like, this isn't fun. Like, why am I even doing this? Like, I suck.
Yeah, I suck. That was quickly back.
Right. I can't do it.
Training.
Yeah. And then, yeah. So just remembering like, what was your reason for starting? Yeah. Why did you start this in the first place? And just going back to your roots, right? Whether it's your job or having kids, like everything we do in life isn't always going to be like butterflies and rainbow. But why did you make that choice in the first place? Why did you start that? And don't forget your why. And I'm like, this is supposed to be fun. Yeah. Take a second, take a breath, and like try to enjoy it. So I feel like that's how I'm not getting burnt out, because ninja is a lot of failure. Like
more failure than success.
Yeah, you fall a lot.
Right. Yeah.
And especially like on the show, there's one winner.
Yeah.
So there's going to be one guy walking away from the show being like, I won. And everyone else is going to go home and they either are going to feel defeated or like say, what a cool opportunity. Let me keep working harder for next year.
Yeah. Do you have a network? I mean, I know it's more popular as a sport, but do you have like other people training at your level? Or are you kind of a one-off in the Spokane world?
I really feel like I'm like a one-off. So there's Sandy, who's been on the show. Yeah. And then there's the 16-year-old teen who is actually very talented. And so he could be going places. He's pretty amazing. Yeah. But other than that, so a lot of times I am like training myself. It's hard because in other states, there are these huge indoor gyms, like specifically for ninjas. So you go in and there's just like obstacle after obstacle. And then there's coaches that know more than you. Mm-hmm. And so here I am like training in someone's backyard. I don't have a coach. I don't have someone better than me teaching me and training me. Mm-hmm. So it's been a lot of like trial and error and trying to just like figure stuff out on my own.
So talk to me about your like your weekly or daily regimen. Is diet a part of it? Obviously exercise is a part of it. How diligent do you track like macros? Do you track, what does that look like for you?
So, being a mom, I'm very busy. And so I actually don't track what I eat. I just try to be mindful of it, right? Mm-hmm. Like protein. Mm-hmm. This is your sign to eat more protein. Yeah. So that's like the biggest thing. Like eat a lot of protein. I try and eat veggies almost every meal. And then I weightlift 5 times a week. So that's like my big thing. And that was like my love before I found ninjas. Like I really got into like weightlifting, and that passion is still very much, and it's so much more accessible for me too, right? Like I can just go to the gym and lift weights. Where like ninja, it's like the gym has to have like open gym or class hours. And then I actually have to be able to like get there at those times. So I'm really only training like ninja specific once or twice a week. I get to go to a gym, whether it's Sandy's backyard, or there's another indoor gym in Coeur d'Alene that I frequently go to. Mm-hmm. And I'll spend like 2 hours training ninja on those days.
So how many hours total between your gym time and your ninja time? 10 like hours a week, 20 hours a week?
Well, it's like an hour, 5 of weightlifting 5 times. So that's like 5 hours plus 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Like 9 or 10 a week.
How's your recovery?
Good. I mean, no, it could be better.
Well, weight training, yeah. Well, weight training 5 days a week is like that in itself is fairly rare. right? And then you throw the ninja on top of it. Have you sustained any major injuries, or you have to battle any of that?
I've had 2 really bad ankle sprains where like I couldn't walk for like 2 months. Both from ninja. And I tore my lat actually this year.
Really?
Ouch.
Yeah. And that was a struggle because ninja, I couldn't do ninja.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like a lot of back strength. So that was hard for me.
So what are your future plans with ninja as of right now? You've been on the show 4 times, is that right?
So
we got through the first 2. One not so good.
Yeah.
Second one really good. Went to really the nationals. Good. How'd the other
3rd
2
one was, I don't know, okay. I didn't make it to the finals. So it was like disappointing, especially like getting all the way to finals and then like went out and qualifying. So and then the 4th one I have filmed, but it has not aired yet.
So you can't tell us.
Yeah, the current show is airing right now, so I'll be on like the next couple of weeks it'll air.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
So what about the future? Are you going to keep doing it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Sandy's like 45.
I was going to say,
I'm
how
so
long,
sorry if I
long?
say older than Julia.
She's talking to us right now. She's like, she's.
But there are ninjas who are older than me, and I mean, it's a passion of mine. So I'm planning on doing it for as long as I can.
Who out of all of the ninjas, who are the 1 or 2 or 3 that you look up to the most?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, what's cool about ninja is, you never really know how people are behind closed doors. Like you see them on TV, and of course they have like their best behavior. Yeah. You know what I mean? But there have been so many ninjas that I've met in person from the show, and they all are just so kind. They're so nice. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah. Do you have to change your personality at all? Like for the show? Do you feel yourself changing?
I flex a lot more than I do in real life.
Okay.
With Bicep Babe, I gotta show the biceps, you know? So I'm up there all like, I do a little like boom, boom firepower. Yeah. You'll never see me do that in real life.
Ever? Seems like a good ad to any event. Like,
I feel like when I see you in the grocery store next time or something,
you're gonna expect
be
it. Yeah. I like flexed and kissed my biceps one time. Yeah. So I'm a little bit more cheesy.
You have to be like a character.
I'm a little bit,
right?
So I just
playing a role.
Yeah. I'm definitely bigger.
Yeah.
There. A bigger personality.
Is that hard for you?
No, actually, the cameras come on and I'm like, yeah.
What I've been waiting for.
Yeah, this is the moment. Right?
Maybe that's my real personality. In life, I just
temper it back a little.
Yeah. I just hold it in.
That's so good.
So, in your personal training, like, have you found any of these? Like, obviously, it's a leading question, but I'm going with an assumption here that it translates to your clients. As far as like when you're a personal trainer for somebody, do you notice like when they seem to have like negative self-talk or when it's like a belief thing? Or
yeah, definitely. You know? Yeah. And I've seen people put their worth in like how they look, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's kind of the same way as like putting your worth in like how you're performing in a sport or how you're performing in your job and feeling like I need to be in shape to, I don't know, to be worth something, to be liked. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that's the same kind of negative talk that I had to deal with. Like, don't attach your worth to probably anything except for who you are as a person. Yeah. Right? Like, am I being kind to others? Am I working hard in my life? And that's really all that should matter.
Yes, it sounds so easy.
It does.
When you say it. But I'm like, that's a major issue for most
most people, because like if we really dissect this for a second, right? Like I think we've all seen the behind the scenes sports shows, whether it's Michael Jordan or somebody where like you watch this battle for them, right? And it's like all everybody sees are like the highlight reels. Yeah. Right. Yeah. They just see the moments and they don't see necessarily behind the closed doors. And like there's a lot of, I think, professional athletes that we would say they were amazing, and then you get the behind the scenes look and you're like, they were a jerk, right? They are not a good person, right? Yeah. Or vice versa. Like it's definitely, you can't, in business it's the same thing. Like we have this is primarily a business podcast, but we have a lot of like tying our self-worth to the success of our business. Right. Yeah. And it's like I've met people that are very wealthy and have done great in business and they're not very nice people.
Yeah.
Right. And you meet great people that seems to be elusive to them, right? They haven't figured the business piece out. So I think we all battle these things, and it's just a matter of like, there's the knowing, like, okay, I get it. Now, how do I do it?
Yeah.
Right. Like, I know I shouldn't tie my personal feelings to like my worth or my success, but at the same time, I'm doing it. How do I stop doing this? Right. Or there's a part of me that does it. So it's definitely something that I think that we all battle.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, and it's hard. It almost makes it harder once you've had success.
Yeah.
Because then everybody's looking at you now. Yeah. Like, I made it all the way to the finals, and then I would go to these comps and they'd be like, oh my gosh, that's Bicep Babe.
Exactly.
Yeah. She made it all the way to the finals. Yeah. And I was like, oh no, like now I have to do good. Like everyone's expecting something from me. So I think that's a whole nother thing, and can totally like be applied to any part of your life, right? Like your business is successful. Now everyone's expecting that from you, or now you even have these expectations for yourself.
Right.
And then, then that third season I was on, and then I didn't make it to the finals. And so then there we go. Like, okay, where do you go from now? Like, do you suck now just because you didn't have success finals again? Yeah.
Yeah, I think success is such a terrible metric to gauge it on. I really like your approach of more just what you enjoy and what you do. You still strike me as a pretty competitive person. Yeah. So I'm sure that fire turns on when you're actually competing in it. But I think a lot of times that's where we get held up in most of it. So do you feel like a lot of them at that level have your similar mental approach? Because I mean, talent, right? You nailed the first two things you did, but you also are working really hard. There's a couple of people on there where I'm like, they're teenagers.
Yeah.
Like there's no way they have the same mental approach you do.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like most people at that level have that edge, or do they just not care and they're just
I think I've seen both. Yeah. Especially with like teens, you have like those chill teens, chill. And they go and they fail and they just, I don't know, they move on. They go scroll TikTok. But I feel like the other people, well, I did notice people who had success and people who like failed. And I remember this one girl in particular, like I have a lot of respect for her, and she did do really well. And then we were at a comp and she went out like pretty early on. And she was like, that's okay. I got the obstacles I tried were really fun. Like I had a fun time and I tried my best, and like she walked off like totally fine. And then I've seen other people, like I've seen a temper tantrum. I've seen people cry. I've seen a lot of people cry.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like it's...
Which is okay.
It is.
Crying is okay. Well, I just want to throw that out there.
There's a lot of... I mean...
Because you work so hard to get to one spot.
I always say I'll cry either way. Whether it goes good or whether it goes bad, I think I'm going to cry. Yeah. I just try to not do it in front of people. Because there's so much hard work and there's so much emotion that you put into this thing that you've worked for. So it's like if you get success, you can cry tears of like joy. And then if you do bad, like, yeah, you're going to be disappointed. So yeah, it is okay to cry. And it's okay to be disappointed, but are you going to live in that disappointment? Correct. Or are you going to let yourself feel those feelings, then pick yourself up and move on? And I think that's where people get stuck, is they let themselves dwell too long in the disappointment. So then where you're just living in that, and then...
Well, and this, like, for, talking like secret sauce, I think that is one of the secret sauces of success, or resilience, being like, can you separate your identity, but then can you also like come to the table the next day with the same positive attitude, or get back on the horse type thing? And I've said this in business lately as like, it's more important to me how somebody loses than how somebody wins.
Oh, totally.
Because it's really easy to be a good person when things are going well, right? And when you're winning. And yet I've been in like business partnerships with people where it's like when things start going south and like those true colors show. And it's like, well, now I have two problems. I have the problem that things are going south, but now I have a business partner who's melting down, right? And it's making it harder. And it's like, yo, bro, I picked you as a business partner because
when it got
lose, or it gets hard, we're both in it. Now I'm in it, you're melting down, and things are really hard. Right?
Yeah.
It's like double compound.
So as I look at business relationships or partnerships, like that's one of the things I'm always like, how is this person going to react when things don't go right?
Yeah.
Right. When they fail, like, are they throwing a temper tantrum, or are they melting down, or are they crying? Like, and is that going, and again, not even that is the problem, but is that a moment in time for them, or is that then become the normal? Right.
Yeah.
And I think Jordan's seen it as well as myself, is like a lot of times that's the ticker of like the one-off and then flame out, versus like the people who truly kind of stay successful is like, you have to be able to come back with that attitude, or you have to, like, I call it like having your 5-minute funeral. Like for me, I'm okay with the temper tantrum or the crying, but like it's 5 minutes, right? Like, hey, we can all like throw our headgear on the ground and go kick the door. But then we need to be back in the conference room in 10 minutes, start talking about like, what are the solutions? What's the approach now? What are we going to do? Right.
I think it's hard for people to do, because you could easily come back to that next competition and looked at the first hurdle, right? And fell. Me and my wife were rewatching Ted Lasso again. And it has one of the best parts, because you need to be more like a goldfish, because the memory only lasts 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of times that held me back a lot, because then you'd face that same scenario, and instead of that positive reinforcement, you're just remembering the last fall or the last failure. And one of the biggest changes in my life was switching from that and trying to help people get over that piece, because there's so many people that will burn out this year in real estate, or at least the world I'm in, and never do it again.
Yeah.
Because it just didn't work.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to get people's mindset around, no, the whole point is to fail and learn and grow.
Yeah.
And I just don't think a lot of people take that mindset, but I've never heard somebody approach it with looking at it that way, of finding the joy in it. Like, I couldn't honestly tell you I find joy in what I do. Like, I like the competition. I like building businesses. I like that piece. But I feel like I probably would have learned this lesson a lot earlier if I just found the joy. Because then I worried about who thought what.
Yeah.
I built the big building. Now the next one has to be bigger. Then I just went down this list. I'm like, but why? I still remember I was driving with my dad. We'd done a lot of flip houses, and then I finally made enough to build my custom dream home on the mountain, looking over all perfect. It was awesome. Modern dream house. I get it done. And I'm driving up there, and my dad's like, do you like the house? And I said, yeah, I'm so excited. I mean, I did it, and everybody told me I couldn't. And he paused for a minute, in a true dad fashion. I don't know if he was thinking or just didn't hear me, but then he just goes, who? And I just sat there for a second. I'm like, nobody cares. Nobody shows that. Like, and you start framing this thing around, I create this image in my head of what it could look like. And instead of letting that opportunity happen, I think I really like your approach to it, because I think it could be applicable to personal relationships, could be business, could be anything you do, because then how do you ever lose?
Yeah.
Like, you never lose the game with that mindset. Yeah, you fail and you succeed, but you never lose.
Yeah.
So super interesting. I actually did write that down in my notes, but thank you for that insight, because as I apply it to even thinking of the relationships, the business stuff, it's, if I can go in and find that piece of it. Now, if somebody does something, doesn't show up, does show up, that wasn't the part of the relationship. It was the other part, the joy, the kind of deeper meaning to it.
Yeah.
Well, and you have to be careful. So going back to like the mantra thing, like the other thing that his name was Mike Fleming, who was a great coach, but he was like, also you have to be very careful of like your motivations for doing things, because like you're going to the house build thing, and it's like, so then once you go, well, did I do this because it's what I wanted, or did I do this because everyone told me I couldn't? But really, maybe nobody told me that, but I created this narrative that people are stacked against me, and now I'm going to show them they're wrong. But like, the result is cool.
Yeah, the results.
But you use kind of a negative motivator to get that result. And you can do that a lot. I do that a lot. I've done that in the past of like kind of, I want to take on a big project that's a challenge to prove that I can do it, either to myself or to other people. But then that rhythm is not necessarily a healthy rhythm long term. No. Right?
Well, it burns it out. It's like when you watch the documentary on Michael Jordan, he would just make up things, as somebody said, just to motivate him to beat that person.
Right.
And that what I found was like, it works. Like I built buildings. I built buildings I never thought I'd build, but it was then I'm looking at them like, but it's not sustainable.
Well, and it's effective, but maybe not the healthiest motivator.
Yeah, but I've never heard actually somebody approach it where just like find that joy first, then build those parts.
Yeah.
Because then you're never going to put your identity in it. That's never going to be your thing. Yeah. It's just a thing you do.
Yeah.
So do you coach people on that side of things? Like, obviously you're a fitness trainer, but like,
I just make people lift heavy things.
Yeah, smart. See if it comes out.
Yeah.
Well, and so going into that a little bit, because I know with like weightlifting specifically, especially if you get into like a competitive realm, it's so much more technique and form than it is strength. I feel like.
Yeah.
Like I have watched young females or like guys come in the gym and I'm like, how the hell they just deadlift 500 pounds, right? But it's literally like a hinge and a pivot and like, it's that form thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes with trainers, like your guys' job is just like, you can kind of get people to believe more in it, but just like tweaking their form or their structure or their approach. Totally. What do you think is the most important, I don't want to say form or structure, but about like being a ninja warrior? Like are there things that you have to do? Like you had a gymnastic background, but is it, it's not all strength, right? There's
there's a lot of technique.
What are kind of like the top 2 or 3 things that you have to be aware of?
Like technique wise, I think in ninja. Well, I feel like ninja is a very unique sport in you go to a competition and it's always a new course.
Yeah.
And it's very like innovative. So you'll show up and this gym has created a brand new obstacle that nobody has tried. And so you have to go in there and be like, oh my gosh, I've never done that before.
Do you know in advance? I meant to ask you that the last one. So you show up to that starting
there
part.
And they say, okay, here's the course. Okay, now wait for your turn.
Is it like within a realm of you can train? Because how are you training?
So you never get to dry run the courses?
No, never.
Crazy.
Never.
So that makes it totally interesting because there's certain things that I'm sure you just would do once or twice and then be like, I just need to do it this way and that's how you do it.
Yeah.
But I have to figure this out in real time on live
as
TV.
I'm going.
Yes, as I'm going, Not only do it, but do it first try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you have a general idea though? Like it's going to be so many hooks, obstacles, whatever.
Yeah.
No.
You just show up there and
that makes that even more impressive.
Yeah, they show you the course and then so they do have like testers.
Okay.
So you show up and they say, this is the course and we get to watch one person do it. And then they're like, okay, now go wait for your turn.
That just got way more interesting. My assumption was you had 6 months to train for what was coming.
Yeah.
And so then you're kind of just practicing.
And it's true for the show too, is they create new obstacles.
Oh yeah, and they're really cool.
No one has ever tried.
Intentionally create them for people to fail, right? Like they're probably designing and engineering
this
these
isn't
things.
Wipeout.
Yeah, exactly.
To a point. They want some success,
Yeah.
but I feel like as the sport keeps growing and now there's these specific training facilities, like the sport's just grown and people are so much better than they were when Ninja first started out. And it was just like the rock climbers who would come in and just do well because they could hang on for a long time. Now it's people who like that's their life and that's what they're training for.
Mm-hmm.
So getting the fundamentals of like just body control and like flying through the air. And I mean, they'll make people do like crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Like you have a loose bar and then you have to like hop it and fly it through the air and have like a precision landing on like these blocks and hang on. Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is, I mean, strength is obviously super important. And then I think just like body control.
Yeah.
So when you strength train, do you strength train for like body weight rep type training? Like, and I could be totally wrong, but I'm assuming that you, lifting a ton of weight isn't the same as you being able to do 100 pull-ups or something, right?
Yeah.
Like,
because it is very much like strength to weight ratio.
Right.
Like you see super buff guys going on the show and they are very strong, but they also weigh a lot more.
Yeah.
And it's just so much harder to throw yourself through the air when you weigh, I don't know, 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Well, it is, and you see that across sports, right? Like just with like body types, like there's certain body types where it's like you could be a phenomenal football player and then you're not going to be a very good soccer player, right?
Yeah,
and it's just because of the need of that sport.
Yeah.
But the fact that they changed that course and that you only get, I mean, to me, that blows my mind. It'd be like, I can't imagine being a football player and showing up and they're like, well, today you're playing on an 80-yard field. Tomorrow you're playing on a 110-yard field.
Yeah.
Or
not even training.
We're playing 8 on 8 today, or 6 on 6 tomorrow. Like it would be, the playbook just changes so much, right? Like
the ball's a different shape every time.
Yeah.
Do you get to see the
maybe
people
we're on
before
to
you?
something here.
Yeah, you do.
So if you go, there's an advantage to go in like last.
There is an advantage, yeah.
Is there like, because a lot of them have the water, like do they go clean the thing between them? Like, so as far as water on there or slipping?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, if the water splashes on an obstacle, they'll dry it off.
Okay. Is it a professional sport? Like you get paid to do it? Or is this more, do you get endorsements or is it just for fun?
So the TV show, obviously there's big prize money, right? Like it's been $1 million if you can win the whole thing. And then they'll pay out like the top 3 people of each episode even.
Oh yeah.
It's been challenging because like, especially when you make it all the way to like the Vegas finals, that last stage, it's like guys against girls, right? It's just like you're all together.
Yeah.
And so obviously like a girl has never won. As much as I want to say like, oh yeah, I can keep up with the boys. Like, I don't know.
Do you think they should create different categories?
Yes. Yeah. For the TV show, I would love if they would do like a male and a female winner for every season.
Mm-hmm.
Which would make sense.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and it's like, I think when my coworker was telling me about you and I looked at your Instagram videos, I was like, oh shit, she can do like legit pull-ups on a lot of them, right? That is very rare for a female body structure, right? Yeah. Like your strength to weight ratio as a female is impressive, right? But that's kind of like what you were saying, like you went and did that course and ladies like, you need to compete in
She's
this,
like, whoa.
We got one here.
Yeah. Well, and there's an aspect of that, like diving down that rabbit hole of like talent. And then there's the hard work portion, right? That talent, even that sheer physical ability or talent only gets you so far. If you can't like mentally get with it, or if your work ethic's not there or something, it's just a piece of that puzzle.
Yeah, for sure.
So, well, that's awesome. What are your future plans? Like, as far as like, do you have any future plans as far as like how many more times you're going to compete, or you're just going to let it fly until you?
Yeah, I'm just going to keep applying every year, and just as long as they'll keep me on the show, like I'll keep going on.
Do you get an advantage because you were on the last one?
Yeah.
Like, do you start at the top of the list and then you have to like really be bad to be off it, or do you have to do a full submission every time?
You have to do a full submission every time. But last year they did actually contact me and they said, just do like a quick video of like updates in your life. And I was like, I'm raising my kids. I go to work and I try and fit Ninja in there somewhere. Like, what else?
So compelling.
I'm like, there's no updates. I just am trying to live my life and nothing exciting. Like the most exciting thing I feel like is I do American Ninja Warrior.
You said that going last is an advantage. So when you come into
so here's a crazy thing about the show that most people don't know is it's a night shoot. So we get on set at like 8:00 at night.
Oh wow!
And it goes through the night.
Oh wow!
So you could go at 10:00 at night. You could go at midnight. You could go at 4 a.m.
Really? So
there's a sweet spot of like having enough time to watch people go, and not being too late that all of a sudden you've stayed up for.
Do you get there pretty early? Not that day of. Do you go like the week before and kind of adjust your body to doing work at midnight?
No, I mean.
Or you just kind of show up?
Yeah, and with my job too, I wake up at 5 a.m. I'm doing like early morning fitness classes where like these teens, I'm sure, love to stay up till 2 in the morning regularly. Yeah, so it's a total time shift for me. And like they only bring you out like a day early. Like you'll fly in and kind of have that day. Then the next day is all B-roll. So all like the interviews and they call them hero shots where, you pose and you're on like a turntable. And then it's that third day is when you actually compete. So I have like those first 2 days and I do try. I try and stay up late and then make myself sleep in so that I can be at least a little bit prepared for that. Yeah.
Has it led to any other opportunities in film or TV, marketing, things like that? Outside of, I'm sure it helps your personal training business locally, but like, have you seen any opportunities from just that national exposure?
Well, I don't know if it's connected. I did have the opportunity to do like a photo shoot. It was actually for a pickleball company. So I got to go like be a pickleball model.
Nice.
But I feel like, I don't know if that was like connected through my like Ninja Warrior.
So when you film your workouts and this and that, like talk to me about like the video aspect of it, or like the reels or the editing or something like that. Do you have to be pretty prevalent on social media?
So the way I've always viewed social media is like I never wanted to like be fake, because a lot of times I watch people and I'm like, I don't know, sometimes it can be cringe, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't want it to like take over my life, especially like having 2 small children. Like I don't want that to be like the big focus or like always be like looking at my phone, right? Yeah. And so the way that I've always done my social media is, this is what I love to do, right? Is do ninja. And then I just like, hey, film me doing this. And I'll just like film what I'm already doing. I like film what I love. Right. And then we'll post it. So it's been like very like a chill thing. And then I had a couple videos, but one in particular like went like viral. It got like 11 million views.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow,
yeah. And it was this obstacle, and it was like a tipping board. And so I'm hanging on to these small rock climbing holds. It tips over so that I'm like vertical, and one of my hands slips off and I hang on with one hand and just dangle there. Anyway, and that was the one that like really took off and like grew my following. And again, then I got success, and then I felt that pressure of like, oh, like I got success.
Now I gotta do another video.
I gotta like match it. But then yeah, taking a step back and being like, okay, well, let's not have this. Like I never wanted to be obsessed with like the views or follows. So I do it more casually.
Sounds very like organic almost.
Yes. Yeah.
So like when you are gearing up for a competition, do they pressure you at all to like promote yourself on social media or like the show or stuff like that? Like do you have a contract where you have to?
You don't have to, but yeah, they will send out emails and be like, use these hashtags and tag us.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That's cool.
I feel like these sports, like these Spartan races or like American Ninja Warrior or like some of these sports that are, I don't know, pseudo amateur professional, but bring such a diverse crowd of competitors, bring like a different dynamic that make them like more fun to watch, you know, because like you said, is somebody like a car salesman or a mechanic or a CPA or like what's their day job, you know, and like how do they train and when do they train and do they live in hot weather or cold weather or altitude? Like there's such a different, like there's so many variables, I guess is what I'm getting at, that it actually kind of makes it like interesting to watch, just like a curiosity. I always like watching them, and then they would like show someone's training regimen. You know what I mean? Like they do like a little highlight, like your next competitor is this person, and then it shows them in their own backyard or it shows them like at their gym. And like that's what I get like curious about is like the hours that they're putting in or what they're trying to work around or like what they hone in on, you know? That makes them, you know, like they're like, this is the deciding factor or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's super unique. I just respect anything I can't do. And so when you watch them, I'm like, I can never do that. And so I think that's always what it's separated from me, where like, even if I trained every day, I'm not hopping on those things. It doesn't make sense.
The American Ninja Warrior ship has sailed for you. Like
I watched the first one and thought I had a chance. And then I was like, I'm more destined for Wipeout after this point. So that one I still have a chance.
But I feel like it's one or the other. Like there's the people
you only get 2 chances.
Who are like, I could never do that. And then there's people who are like, I could totally do that. I'm like, really? Let me see you hang on that bar right
now. I wouldn't do well on a course there. That's for sure.
I feel like I just want to try one, but I don't know if like you would.
It is so fun. Like I always tell people like, you don't have to like go try and do the show, but if you could just like go to a course and play around, like it really is just a fun time. You're just like a big kid on a really hard playground.
Yeah. It's funny.
A big kid on a really hard
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Well, Clarisa, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me.
Best of luck, by the way. So the show's out now.
It is, yeah.
It is. So, like,
it airs Monday nights.
Monday nights
on NBC.
On NBC. Nice. Well, we will definitely
check it out
now. So yeah, thank you so much and best of luck. And I look forward to like seeing all of your success in the future.
Yes, well, I'll stick around whether I have success or not. You know, I'll do it for the passion.
First woman winner. That's what I'm gonna find.
What is the joy piece for you?
I think I find joy in pushing myself. Honestly. And that's why like gymnastics was so fun for me. And then I found weightlifting and now I'm doing ninja. And I think like the main denominator is it's fun to push yourself and see what you can accomplish and see what you can do.
Yeah. Totally. And not necessarily tie yourself to the outcome.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Find the joy in self-improvement, right? Like I mean, I am improving, and that's the same with weightlifting, right? You put in the work, you see the results, and whether that means that you win the show or not, like you are still getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way that same coach used to pitch it to me is he'd say, Keith, life is not a zero-sum game, but business is, right? Or some things are, and that was like competition wise, and like what he means by that is like zero sum game is like a zero sum game is any game where there's like a clear winner and a loser, right? Like if two teams play, it's like, well, this is a zero sum game. Like somebody's walking away winning, somebody's walking away losing. Like competition itself tends to be that way, but we then tend to think life is that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And he's like, but life's not a zero sum. Like you can win at life and not win all the time or lose all the time. Right. But when you're a competitor, like an athlete or anybody who's competitive in nature, we tend to start to kind of like think life is this way. Right. Like, and my wins and losses are now my identity.
Yes.
And so what I hear you saying is like, the joy is kind of like being the best you can be and pushing yourself, and you don't necessarily have to tie yourself to the outcome, but showing up every day and just continuing to do that. So
pushing yourself. Yeah.
That's awesome. You're like mentor my
really
kids.
Good takeaway. Really good takeaway.
Well, and that's like I said, that's the most important aspect I think of this show for me and Jordan is like we like to talk to people that are doing things a little bit differently and seeming to have like a high level of success, but then kind of like talk to them intimately and analyze like, how do you evaluate success? What do you hold to a high standard, you know? And so it's so interesting and grounding to meet people like yourself who have competed at such a high level. And then you're kind of like, yeah, I'm just out there doing the best I can do. And
it's also a refreshing
like, you don't
approach.
Like go home and like eat nails every night and sleep on the dirt. Like, you know, like in my mind, like I just think, and then it's like, you're like, no, I just love it. And I'm just like,
or that you train twice a week. And I'm like, just a different approach where I think through it. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Would have been a different.
Well, you know, it's a cool perspective to have kids because I think it's a good reminder, like talk to yourself how you would talk to your kids, right? Like I would never tell my daughter like, you failed, like you suck. You should probably stop doing that. Right? Like,
though you want to sometimes.
Yeah, you hear that a lot. Like, talk to yourself the way that you would talk to someone that you love, and it's true. Yeah. Like, we all need to give ourselves grace.
Yeah. Giving yourself grace is something
give yourself grace on the
message
journey.
I heard in your message there. Yeah. But it's one of those things where I think for me, having children has really brought that out. And I don't know that you need children for this, but it is an amazing thing because you start to analyze the behavior you're modeling for them. Yeah. Right. So as a mom and a competitor, you're like
they're watching me and they're watching how I react when I fail.
Yeah.
And if I could have my kids take one thing away from me doing ninja, it's I have seen mom literally fall on her face.
Yeah.
And she just gets back up and she keeps trying.
Yeah.
That's powerful though. Yeah. To see it, you can say it, but until you see that happen.
Yeah.
Like I think the hardest part, really last year has been a little hard, but like I never saw somebody fall. Yeah. Like I never saw what getting up looked like from something like that. Yeah. And I feel like that's what I try to model, or even a lot of what I use the show for. I'm like, look, it looks great out here, but I failed at most of the stuff. And now it's like, how do you emulate it and keep showing up?
Well, and a lot of times, you know, when we fail, we want to hide it.
Yeah.
So then we don't get to see other people fail and how they react to that failure. And we can learn a lot more from our failures than we can from our successes, right? And that's another thing is like when I fall, then I say, okay, and I know what I need to work on now. Yeah. Like I know where my weaknesses are now, and that's what I need to go train. Yeah. Yeah. So what can I learn from this failure? What can I learn from this experience? Not just I failed and that's the end.
Yeah. Well, you have to model that behavior for yourself too. And I think that's really like what I've got about having children is like, I might tell myself, Keith, I'm modeling this behavior so my kids don't see dad fail and quit, or so they can see him do. But you're also subconsciously training your own mind to be like, I'm modeling the behavior I expect of myself.
Yeah.
Right. That I don't quit, that I get up, that I pay attention. Right. Yeah. So for me, I'm like, well, if I do it for my kids and it models for me, then that works too.
Yeah.
Seems like a win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you again. Thank you so much. Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Look forward to watching all your success.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you guys, thanks for listening to today's episode. While you're out there, would you please do us a favor and give us a like, subscribe, or a follow, whether you listen on Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube. We'd really appreciate it. Also, if you don't mind while you're there, give us a 5-star review, maybe write a review. If you have a favorite episode, feel free to give it a like. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate it.